I'm tired of being quarantined.
Anyway. Hey everyone, this is our Star Wars The Clone Wars Season 7, Episode 5 review. We're still filming during the great quarantine of 2020. I get it and all, but I am definitely tired of being quarantined.
Yeah, we're tired of being quarantined.
Yep. You can only watch so much stuff. But fortunately, Star Wars The Clone Wars is a pretty good show, and I feel like we're getting pretty good content so far. What do you think?
I think we're getting good content. Yeah, I think we've been getting pretty good.
All right, so let's just jump right in here and see where we are with Episode 5.
See where we at.
So Ahsoka is... we're getting to Ahsoka's story. After she leaves the Jedi Order... Biscuits.
She leaves the Jedi Order biscuits.
She
I did not know the Jedi Order sell biscuits.
They're the best biscuits in the galaxy.
I knew they ate, but I didn't know they had biscuits.
Jedi Galactic Biscuits!
Buy two, get one free.
Here we are in Episode 5. We're finally getting to Ahsoka's story. She's left the Jedi Order, and now we're going to see how this takes her into Rebels, which will be very interesting.
Takes her into Rebels, takes her into what we know is going to happen with her and Maul.
Yes.
And so I do love how the episode begins with the Force theme. You kind of just like feel the fact that she's left.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's very sad. And she doesn't know where she's going. She has no path.
Exactly. So this is what I want to talk about, is her conflict here. There were some things that I noticed. I want to get your thoughts on it. Mm-hmm. And let's start with the first thing. She just was betrayed by Barasafi.
Mm-hmm.
So now she finds herself in a situation where she has to trust someone else after just being completely betrayed by her best friend.
Mm-hmm. And not to mention, the Jedi didn't even trust her. All her other Jedi masters, who she had, some of which she had relationships with, that she has trouble trusting them now.
Exactly. And here's another thought I had while we're watching this episode, is Ahsoka has to go from everything. I mean, Ahsoka could just get on a spaceship and go wherever.
Exactly.
To any other galaxy, any other place. And now she's confined to the bowels of Coruscant.
Yeah. It makes you wonder why she didn't just leave the planet. I feel like she could have. She could have found work on a ship or something. But she chose to stay on Coruscant.
Why do you think she stayed on Coruscant rather than leaving?
Well, it's probably likely she just still had felt a connection to the Jedi Temple. And since the Jedi Temple is on Coruscant, that's where she felt... She still feels a connection, a relationship with the temple because of all that's her home.
Mm-hmm.
The Jedi Temple is her home.
Yeah, it's all she's ever known.
It's all just like the episode the narrator said. That's all she's ever known.
Yep.
And so she probably just still felt a connection there and just wanted to stay, even though she didn't want to be part of the Order. She still wanted to just stay close to it.
I get it.
Yeah.
All right, here's another bullet point, and she's now having to hide her powers. She can't let on that she's a Jedi because, well, I think she's afraid that they'll find out about her and find out where she is. Or maybe she just doesn't. Maybe she's afraid that she'll be found because she doesn't want to be found.
Yeah, that's probably true too. And also, I think, come on, Jedi draw attention. Everywhere they go, they draw attention. And so if someone uses the Force, that just causes a bunch of trouble. Someone's probably going to try to kidnap her, to ransom her to the Jedi because they think she still is a Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Or they're Dooku could hear about it and send somebody after her to try to turn her to the dark side or something. But everybody, especially since she's in the underground, the underworld, that's full of gangsters and thugs and stuff. And once they know this is a Jedi, that's just going to lead to a whole lot of trouble. And obviously it's been proven in this episode that a lot of the people down here there don't have the greatest opinions of the Jedi.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, here's the next thing. We find out that Trace can fight.
Kind of.
She can fight. she's strong. She can street fight.
Yeah, street fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's smart enough to okay, I'll grab a tool. I'll grab a bag. She uses the resources to her advantage.
Yep. She can hold her own.
She can hold her own a little bit.
Okay. Here's another thing. I want to get back to Trace and Rafa in a minute, But this part where Ahsoka is forced to use the Force to save Trace when she's hanging off the forklift off the edge, and that little kid actually notices what Ahsoka does. And do you think that's going to come up later?
I doubt it. I think that was just something like, oh, the kid notices and that's it. It doesn't seem like a story point that they would further in any way, especially with what happens in the next episode. We'll talk about in another video.
Yeah. Okay, so Trace and Rafa, very interesting characters, very strong characters. Okay, one thing that you brought up when we watched that episode is that you felt that Rafa was pretty manipulative.
Trace and Rafa, it's almost, I feel like Rafa's kind of this wannabe Lando Calrissian, almost.
Ah, I
Do you get that?
Yeah.
Because, like, she's, you know, trying
There's
to be all...
similarities
she's
there.
trying to be all fancy and a gambler, but you can tell that's not really... She's not good at it.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, she's not good at gambling. She's not good at, like...
Except Lando was good at it.
Lando was good at it. He was good at the whole swindling thing.
Thing.
Hello, what have we here? But Rafa's just not good at it. And it causes trouble for Trace, who is really just, I mean, all really she wants to do is just be a pilot. That's really her only ambition. While Rafa's just to, like, we'll have this, like, we'll have lots of money, we'll be, like, the biggest gangsters in the galaxy or something like that. And it's just, like, it's not going great. And as far as her being manipulative, I do believe that Rafa just kind of does whatever she needs to do to get what she wants.
Yeah.
Like, she has a lot of ambition. So she'll tell Trace, since, you know, Trace is her little sister, so, like, oh, I can do whatever I want with her. Like, she'll do anything I say.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like she does... Do you really think Rafa loves Trace, or is it really just for her?
I'm glad you brought that up, because I was just going to say that. I think that she does love her sister. I think she genuinely loves her sister. She wants what's best for her sister, and she's willing to look out for her. But also, she also wants what she wants at the same time. So there's definitely a little conflict there. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
And Ahsoka, you know, she befriends Trace, and Rafa is not very fond of that at all.
No, not really.
And I'm still kind of confused as to why, though. I think it's because there's somebody in Trace's life that can finally, like, that can also have a sway over what Trace does.
Yeah.
Like, it was only Rafa that had a say. Like, okay, you do this, you do that. Or, like, that it was only Rafa who was there to influence her.
Yeah.
But now Ahsoka's there to influence her, and, you know, since Ahsoka was a Jedi, she believes in morals, she has principles and stuff.
Yes.
Which Rafa does not have a lot of.
No.
And so now Rafa's kind of, like, mad at that, like, oh no, this could ruin my plans or something.
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be very interesting to see where they go.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now this next one I thought was really cool. This is nostalgic for me. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but I noticed this almost immediately. In the scene where the Ahsoka is forced to use the Force and she has to pull up the forklift, there's two characters in the background, and those characters are Hammerhead and Walrus Man. Anyone who's from my generation will know these action figures. These two characters in that episode are dressed and dressed and they look exactly the same as the Hammerhead action figure and the Walrus Man action figure from back in the day. So I thought that was a really cool Easter egg.
That was really cool.
And I don't see how they couldn't have done that on purpose.
Oh, there's no way. I mean, the colors were spot on.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
no way they could not have done that on purpose. Dave Filoni knew exactly what he was doing.
Yeah, he did.
Filoni.
Filoni!
He ain't phony. He's Filoni.
Felonious monk. Why is it so hard for me to do an outro, for Pete's sake? Oh my gosh! Thank you for hanging out with us for this video.
Please.
I think we're losing our minds a little bit because of the quarantine thing. We are praying for you guys. We hope you and your families are safe. Click here if you want to subscribe and use the power of the thumb.
Alright, this is the power of the thumb. Click here if you want to watch our last video.
Alright, so our last video, you're supposed to say our last review video. That messes with my head.
Click here if you want to watch our last review video.
Alright, so thank you again for hanging out with us. We truly do appreciate it. And until the next time we see you, McClunky.
Bud talked about what you wanted to talk about.
Now it has.
Now it has.
Alright, you ready?